Storing the food. Storing the food means keeping the food. Store or preserve means to keep the food fresh and safe so you can eat it. If you didn't store the food or preserve it, you would not be able to eat it because it will go bad. If you want to store the food, preserve the food, and keep it safe and fresh, you can put it in the fridge. Fridge or refrigerator. To keep the food safe and fresh, you can keep it in the fridge or freezer also. Fridge and freezer need electricity to work. What's electricity? Electricity is a form of energy. So without electricity would not be able to work. What did people in the past do without electricity? Old people in the past, they didn't have electricity. And they didn't also have a fridge to work or to keep the food inside it to keep safe and fresh. What did they do? People in the past had 6 ways. They had 6 ways to keep the food fresh and safe. So they had 6 ways to keep the food fresh and safe without any fridge, without any freezer, and without any electricity. What are these 6 ways? Number 1, they kept the food in containers. Containers like these. Containers means boxes. They put the food in containers to keep safe and fresh. Way number 2, cans and jars. Cans like these, that we keep tuna inside it. The can is a box that's made of metal, not plastic. A metal box is a can. And also we keep the Pepsi in cans. Also jar is made of glass, like this. We keep the tomato sauce or the jam in a jar. They kept the food, preserved the food, and stored the food in a can or a jar. But take care, before they put it in a can or a jar, to keep the food inside the can or jar safe and fresh, they put first a liquid with salt. They put a liquid like water, then added salt to this liquid. Then they put the food inside the liquid with salt to keep it fresh and safe. But also, they had to close the jar or the can very well. Because if they didn't close the jar or the can very well, the food would not be kept safe and fresh. And if the air came into the can or jar, the food will go bad and will not last for many years. But if you kept the food inside the can or jar in a liquid with salt and closed it tightly, very well, it will be kept for many years. Way number 3, they added salt to the food, especially the fish and meat, to store it or to preserve it, to keep it fresh and safe. Salt is very important in storing the food because salt takes out the water, from the fish and the meat, so it will be kept safe and fresh. So if you want to store the fish and meat, add salt to it. Why? Because salt absorbs or takes out the water from the food. وطول ما الفود ما فيهوش water هيفضل fresh and safe. Way number 4, fire. To keep the food fresh and safe, they used fire. How? But this way they used it especially also with fish and smoked meat. Fish and smoked meat. They didn't put the fish or smoked meat in the fire. No, they heated the fish and smoked meat on fire, so it will be kept fresh and safe. Way number 5, drying. They kept the food dry, but they used this way especially with fruit, like apple, banana, fig. What did they do? They brought the fruit and put it in the sun. So the sun makes the fruit dry. Let's imagine it with apple, okay? They brought the apple and put it in the sun. The sun, what did the sun do to make the food dry? The sun takes out the water and keeps the nutrients in the fruit. مش معنى ان هي بتاخد الواتر من الفروت ان هي هتاخد منها كمان النوترينتس الجود elements in the fruit. Of course not. It only takes out the water and keeps the nutrients in the fruit. So the fruit will be kept safe and what? Fresh. Way number 6. The last way in our lesson is their pots. They use these pots in storing, preserving and keeping the food fresh and safe. How? They use this way using 2 ceramic pots, like this. What did they do? One pot is big and the other one is small. They put the small pot into the bigger one. Then they put between them, there's a space between the small and big one. They put in this space sand and cool water. Cool water to keep the food cool, okay? Or cold water. They put cold water to keep the food cool. And where did they put the food? On the sand? No, they kept the food in the small their pot, like this. ما تنسوش لو عجبكم الفيديو تدوسوا لايك, share and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.